eco-friendly pest control, and the 25B hype, all on this edition of the Pest Geek Podcast.
Pull out your hose and grab your can. We're about to integrate another Pest Geek Podcast. Hi, everybody. Frank Hernandez here, and welcome to the Pest Geek Podcast, bringing you the latest information on pests, products, and politics from today's leading industry sources to help you start, manage, and grow your pest control business.
Hey, welcome back, folks. Welcome back to another edition of the Pest Geek Podcast. I am your host, Frank Hernandez. Hey, we're going to be discussing all the hype about 25B products. And we're going to be discussing what is the truth, what works, what doesn't work, and, what's all the malarkey about. And there's a lot of companies out there pushing a lot of 25B product, mainly cedar oil. That's the number one product that people are pushing. And let me tell you something. There isn't anybody in Miami-Dade County. I can't speak for another county. I know there's a couple of good people here in the state that I know are doing really good work with natural and organic products. Okay. And let me explain to you what has been happening, because I've been doing work with this stuff for, it's almost 6 years now that we've been working on actual using 25B products in our pest control. So I know for a fact there isn't anybody here in Miami-Dade, where I am, that is doing or has done more work on that than me, especially in the area that I specialize in, which is lawn and ornamental. There's a lot of people claiming to be natural. There's a lot of people claiming to be eco-friendly. There's a lot of people claiming that their product is all organic. But if you really squeeze them and you go to their website and you really press them and, you put them up against the wall and put a gun, they're going to admit they use, reduced risk products. They use permethrin. They use all the other products that everybody else uses, a lot of them mixed in with 25B products, because then they can mask the smell, and it's just a bunch of malarkey. That's what's going on in the industry a lot of the time. But, we sat down back I started in the industry in 2006. By 2008, I was already convinced that organics was going to be big. And this is before anybody was actually getting into it. Very few people were even trying this. And I did a ton of market research. I spend a lot of money on market research. If you want to, you go online and you can buy, you can get those free reports and you can get this and that. If you're serious about marketing and you're serious about data, you're going to have to spend some money. The problem we have with pest control people is that they want everything sometimes for free, and they complain about their clients wanting things for free. But when you ask them to pay for something, there's no way I'm paying for that. So you have the same attitude as a lot of your clients, and you're saying, you have a double standard. You want your client to pay a fortune for your service, but you're not willing to pay for anything. And it just happens to be in the case in just about every business. And we started doing work in 2008 where I sat down with companies doing organics. Now, when I mean companies doing organics, we're talking about serious companies in agriculture, okay? Here's the reality. A farmer cannot afford a callback. Okay, if you think you got it bad with a callback because you used a 25B product and it failed, all right, imagine a farmer that loses his crops because an insect or a disease devoured it in a week. So the serious products for organics, the serious user are farmers, okay? Not the pest control industry, not the GHP industry, definitely not in L&O. I can tell you that. There is very little organic products available for lawns that you can actually use in a commercial setting. So I started sitting down with these manufacturers that make biologicals and they make fungicides, and they're all organic. They're OMRI certified, and they use them in nurseries, and they use them in growers, and they use them in in farms, and they're really serious. These guys are PhDs. They're not guys who decided one morning they're going to go and make a cedar oil product in their basement. These are companies that are respected in the industry. They have a long track record. And we sat down and we had lunch with just about everybody in the industry. And when I told them what I wanted to do, every one of them told me it can't be done. And the reason it can't be done is because a lot of these products aren't labeled for use in residential and commercial properties. They're a label problem. They're labeled for farms, agriculture, and they're not going to go through the process of trying to get it for such a small market. Which nurseries have containments. You spray something in there, there's a 6 to 8 hour re-entry time on a lot of these products. All right, they're not safe for people to be. You got to wear respirators. You got to wear suits. Because a product is organic doesn't mean it's safe. That's the first rule that you have to learn if you're going to be talking about organics with people, because people think they're organic, they have to be safe. No, they're safe for the environment, because when they fall to the ground, when that product breaks down, there are no degradates for that product. It becomes back to a carbon compound that's in the dirt that actually becomes beneficial. That's a difference. So we sat down and we started talking about all this, and how do we develop a program that's organic? How do we get into this market? 2008, we're having this discussion. 2008. And basically, it can't be done. It can't be done. Here's what can be used. Here's what we have that might work. Most of it are in the beneficial area. Protecting pollinators, protecting beneficials, protecting the soil, protecting the water. That is the real goal of organics. Okay? It isn't about spraying a product around a house that somebody can get the fuzzy wuzzies about. That's what it's become. But when people say I want organic, they want something that isn't going to hurt their dog and hurt their kid. They could care less about the birds and the bees. They don't care about the wildlife around. They don't care about the degrade in the soil near the stream that's going to pollute the water. Nobody cares about that. Let's be honest. Let's be transparent. Let's cut the malarkey. That's what people are wanting. Because they read a blog somewhere from a writer, from a group of people that don't have any experience in pest control, have the faintest clue what it takes to control a pest. But they write about it and saying you can use mint oil to control ants in your house. Well, if we're going to use mint oil, heck, you can go cheaper than that. You can just buy vinegar. And if you spray an ant trail in a house with vinegar, you're going to get control. You're going to kill. Now, getting control and killing an insect is two different things. You can get soap and kill insects. You can kill them. You don't have to use Raid. You can just keep a bottle around every time you see an insect, put soap on it, put vinegar, put anything you want in there, and spray it directly. It's going to kill them the same way. That's what these products are designed to do. And we got into it, we started doing testing. We were one of the first clients that Essentia had when they put out their line. We bought the entire line. We were one of those people, we're early adopters. And if I see a trend in the marketplace and I see where the market is going, we know we have to be there. And I know what people are saying. They told us, that spraying is bad in baseboard spraying. And then we get criticized for being baseboard sprayers. And then we do crack and crevice, and they tell us that's no longer good enough, that we need to be 100% organic. Now we're 100% organic. What's going to be next? Listen, I could give a rat's butt about what we're using. Really. I mean, if you're going to take offense because somebody is criticizing your chemical, you got a bigger issue than the market. You're demonstrating that you're either not in business, because I'm in a business. And if we can find a market that we can serve and do the right thing, okay, by people, by the environment, by everything that we're doing, and make money, it's a win-win for everybody. This idea that because people are attacking your method, attacking your service, if people are attacking, if customers are demanding it, what is that telling you? That you need to change your attitude. Because the market, here's where we're entering in. I'm going to give you a news flash. No longer do you own the information. No longer do the chemical companies can tell you whatever they feel they want to let out as information and accept it. Those days are gone. The customer today is going to drive the industry in the next 10 to 15 to 20 years. Why? Because we now have the internet. We now can get all of the studies. We can go to Google Scholar and I was sitting in a house the other day he asked me a million questions on the phone. We went to do the service. While I was there, I pointed things out to him that I told him on the phone about that insect. He immediately went to the internet while I was doing the service, pulled up the University of Florida's IFAS sheet on that insect, and confirmed that what I was telling him was the truth. That's where we're at. You think you can keep your clients and not give them a sincere response and not give them an intelligent response and give them a hogwash stupid response, and the customer is not going to see that either you're stupid or you're hiding something. You're kidding yourself. So the attitude in the marketplace is going to have to change because it's going to be a consumer-driven environment. It's no longer going to be driven by the National Pest Management Association. It's no longer going to be driven by whoever is letting out the information. The customer is going to get the information. So you might as well be factual and truthful and upfront about it. The age of transparency is going to hit a new high that you're not prepared for, especially you older guys. You don't want to accept it. But here's where we're at. We're in an age where now 25B is the thing. And 25B, because it has an exemption and it doesn't need to be registered, it's safe. If you do a little bit of study, I was just talking to a client. One of my clients has a doctorate degree in, these processes of, essential oils. The reason they hired us was because of our process. But I explained to her, we're not organic and we're not natural. There's no such thing. And we started discussing, and she's got this entire wall of essential oils. And I said, here's the reality. I mean, essential oils, are preferable for you, but you got clove oil. Clove oil in Europe is considered, it's carcinogenic. Long-term exposure to clove oil is carcinogenic. And she looked at me like, yeah, you're right. It is. So it's not safe. This idea that you can spray something and make it safe to kill something. I said, is it toxic? Of course it's toxic. It has to kill the insect. It cannot be non-toxic and kill the insect. It's a contradiction in terms. He says, but is it toxic to us? It says it all depends. What do you consider toxicity? Is an allergic reaction toxicity? Well, according to the client, an allergic reaction is toxicity. So if you spray a mint oil or any other oil in a house where there's a cat and they're sensitive to it, they're going to feel like you defrauded them because you didn't understand that a lot of these products are sensitive to animals. You got a bird in the house. You can't just spray it. If you got a cat in there and you're using certain type of hot oils, they're very sensitive to it. The dog starts to sneeze and crawl around the floor after you sprayed something. They're sensitive to it. So we got to get to the point where we get scientific in this industry. And a lot of the people, here's the reality. A lot of the people selling, manufacturing 25B products have never, ever done pest control with them. They are marketers. They're people who decided there's a market for them. The top cedar oil products in the market were created by moms who have no clue of what it takes to really control a pest problem. I like to see them go into a house and control a ghost ant problem, or an odorous ant problem, or an acrobat ant problem, or a white-footed ant problem, or a difficult to control pest like a carpenter ant problem in a home with a 25B product. That's number one. Number two is these products have really no residual. None. I've tested them here. I've got videos where I sprayed and 3 days later, the ant trail is there. And I sprayed it at 5 times the dose that the label said to do it. And they're still there. There's no repellency on them. For certain insects, you have to know that all of the studies that are online that have been done for 25B products, all of them, have to do with agricultural pests. Why? Why can you get why can you knock down a beetle problem very quickly in a landscape? Why? Because it's direct contact. When you spray a product and the insect is on that plant, you're going to kill the insect. You're going to kill the insect between 1 and 4 days, depending on how long it takes for that product to kill the insect. I've got almost 100 studies that I'm going to release on a document that you can go in and get all the links to all the uses of 25E products in agricultural testing. They're there. You can get it. But controlling an agricultural pest and controlling a household pest is two different matters. The only way you're going to get control, listen, and I have anybody challenge me on this. I dare you. I mean, that's how I know my stuff. When I open my mouth, I actually know. It's the way I open my mouth that you probably don't like. But when I open my mouth, I've done enough work on it. I don't read blogs and pretend I know something. I know something. So I challenge you on a 25B product. Let's take a difficult ant pest and let's try to solve it. Let's really solve a roach problem. Because there's a lot of people saying we can control roaches with 20. Here's the reality. Any mint product, whether it's Ecovia, whether it's Essentia, which we use, they're a great manufacturer and they're a great company and we buy their products. But we know the limit of that product. We know what we can use it on and we know what we can't use it on. We've done enough work on it. We did work on it for 2 years before I released a single program. I did 100 properties. For 2 years, we tried. And we know where it fails and we know where it works. But we paid the price to do that. So now, you're going to spray a property in Miami with, 100% humidity, rain every day in the summer. And you think you're going to spray or you're going to put a granule around a property and you're going to get repellency and this insect is going to leave. Baloney. It's not going to happen. So what you need to do is, I really get irked, with these guys that, go on blogs, go on groups, and basically sell their product like the second coming, of pest control. Here's what you need to do to some of these guys. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, that's it. I feel like punching people in the face sometimes because instead of coming, when I challenge them and when I put them to the test and when I press them, they have to go running with the tail between their legs because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're marketers and they sell product. It's a big difference when you have a professional pest control company that uses a borate product like Nice's and they've tested it extensively and they say it works great for flies. And if you make this mix and you make this mix with DSV and you use Nibor-D, which is a borate product, you're going to kill the larvae and you're going to kill the insect. And guess what? We do it and it works. But they've gone through a lot of testing to show their product. When somebody tries to sell a product and they have no testing in my state, no testing in any particular pest, they have a laboratory test that they paid for, which wasn't independent. And in vitro, you can kill an insect. You can kill an insect in vitro with anything. Now, what are the companies that actually have done testing and actually have a product that they've tested? Well, Essentia has a couple of studies. I got on the blog. I got a couple of links. You can go check them out. A company that has actual studies showing the mortality rate compared to synthetics, EcoRator. There's 4 studies out there. Much more than any other product in the industry. Nobody has 4 independent studies from independent universities, independent researchers around the globe that have done study on bedbug and say, yeah, you can get compared to temperate, compared to a synthetic pyrethroid, compared to, you got 80% control, up to 100% control, and you got control for 14 days. That's a test. At least you got something to go by. Essentia and other, they have taken that product and tested it for certain pests, and you can see the data. Here's what there isn't anything on other than EcoRator. residual. There's not a single test that's been done anywhere where somebody can prove the residual and the repellency of any 25B product documented for a specific pest in the field for any period of time. I challenge you to find it. It doesn't exist. So when you're buying all these products, it's a private label manufacturing that did the blending of oil and whatever emulsifier they want to use and whatever soap they want to add to it. And they made a product, and the product will kill if you spray it directly on the insect. Am I ready to bet my company on a 25B product line, buy a truck with a special rig to spray down an entire property, hose it down like if it was a fire truck, and bet my company in it? Hell no. I'm not ready to do that. And especially when you are challenged and you can't bring out the data. And you have a bunch of people that behave like cronies online and behave like thugs when the product is challenged. Show me the facts. You go to a dealership, show me the Carfax. You have no facts. You have hype. And that's what ticks me off about an industry that's supposed to be by professional, for professional, and people are jumping on this bandwagon because I know there's a profit factor. Nobody can ever claim that this podcast has been a profit motivator. I don't have a single sponsor. And I've kept everybody that's come on board, listen to every manufacturer, contact them and ask them if I ever asked them for a penny. Ask them if they ever given me product in exchange for a podcast. Call every university that's been on here. Call every manufacturer, every distributor. There's no profit motive for this podcast. When I recommended a book, I read the book. I can show you my library. I have it in there. I've read the book. I've got over 100. I just put a video out about how many books I have on my library. If Audible ever sends me a check for one of your purchases, your 15 cents that I get for every purchase, great. I'm not in doing this podcast because I believe that the people out there, I see the people that are hurting, I see the people that are struggling, I see the industry where it's going. And I said, you know what? I really want to do something because I can. I have no problem getting in front of a microphone and telling you what I think. So can you use 25B products? Yes. How do you use 25B product? The same way you would use it if you had pyrethrum. And there's a big difference. But you have to know, I've got, like I said, 75 studies I'm going to publish that are all peer-reviewed studies, that are scientific studies done by independent universities, by independent people all over the world on 25B products, all the active ingredients. We're going to be doing a couple of podcasts understanding 25B products so that you can really start using them. But when you start claiming, then here's where I see everybody fail. I had one customer call me yesterday. I've had a guy here 3 times. I asked him to use organic. He used organic. He used Decentria to do a German roach problem in an apartment. 3 services. She's still full of roaches. You're going to get suppression for roaches. You're not going to get control. Okay? You're going to get suppression. If you're lucky and it's a single family home, you might get control. But in a multi-unit, good luck with that. Because if you stop for 30 days, coming back and respraying and reapplying, that thing will get out of control for you. It's a big difference than when I use Advion and when I use an IGR and when I use monitors and I put those monitors and 3 months later, there's not a single roach in that monitor. That's control. When I use vacuuming, when I use air, when I use an IGR, when I use Advion, when I use a crack and crevice with Aralon, and when I seal, I get control. Because I come back later, 3 months later, and there isn't a single roach in that pheromone monitor that I have. So guys, I have a bunch of links. Check them out for yourself. Look at the reputable companies that have actually published studies that haven't paid for them. And there's a big difference. And I hope this does help you. Until next time, hey, have a great one.
Thank you for listening to the Pest Geek Podcast. If you have enjoyed the Pest Geek Podcast, please give us a rating, write a review, or subscribe to the channel. You can join the Pest Geek Society by visiting pestgeekpodcast.com. Thank you for listening. See you next time.